SmackDown review all the way from Lyon France. Let's get into it. So the show starts off with Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bayley taking on Damage CTRL and Tiffany Stratton. And the pop for Bayley was insane. This crowd in general was absolutely insane throughout the whole night. But for this first match was over the top. It was so damn good. The match wasn't even all that. It was typical. It was actually a decent match, I'm not going to lie. But towards the end, it got to everybody doing their thing. Some good tag team action between Jade and Bianca. So I think they're going to end up winning tomorrow. So it's going to be quite cool to see how they can develop as a tag team and how their chemistry can develop. But in the end, we had Team Bayley, Bianca, Jade, and Naomi getting the win, standing tall. Little bit of issues between Bianca and Bayley throughout the match, which I like. It makes sense. Just because Bayley's a face doesn't mean we have to forget about everything that she did to Bianca Belair. So I really, really like that. And then after the match, after we came back from a break, we saw them all backstage in the locker room where Bianca and Jade were talking, and Bianca started getting heated about Damage CTRL and finally being finished with Damage CTRL, and that seemed to have upset Bayley. So I like that they're continuing the story. It only makes sense. You can't just have things go away. That happened. So you gotta run with the story. We then had Carmelo Hayes backstage talking to Nick Aldis, and he was talking about how he came so close last week, and that to prove that he is ready for the stage, he wants to declare himself into the King of the Ring tournament. And Nick Aldis says, sure, we can talk about that. As he's about to walk away, Bobby Lashley comes in and congratulates him for his match last week and being in the main event, getting picked to number 1 in the draft, or the first pick for the SmackDown side in the draft, all of that. And then he says, if you want advice, I'm always here. And Melo is like, you know what? I'm good. First pick in the draft, main eventing SmackDown. I don't think I need your advice. And then there's a little bit of heat between them two. And then Bobby basically says, be careful who you step on here, implying that there's going to be some issues between them. I like that. Bobby Lashley and Carmelo Hayes feud could be really, really good, with Carmelo maybe even coming out on top. That'd be really, really cool. I just think Bobby is a good foil to Carmelo Hayes in this whole situation. Both super over. It'll allow Melo to get heat because Bobby's going to get cheers. I liked it. Good segments. Melo really showed his personality, his charisma, all of that in this. We then had the New Catch Republic taking on AOP. Pretty decent match. The crowd again going absolutely bonkers for every single thing. A basic tag moves gets a huge pop. Really, really cool stuff. In the end, the AOP got the win after Scarlett distracted both Pete Dunne and the referee. That allowed Karrion Kross on the outside to take out Tyler Bate. And then that allowed AOP to take the advantage on Pete Dunne and get the win. But good match. AOP looking strong. New Catch Republic still looking strong because they got distracted to win. Crowd super, super hot. Good start to the show so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. We then had a Nick Aldis and Paul Heyman segment. And I just want to start this by saying Nick Aldis is really good in his GM role. We haven't had a GM other than Adam Pearce, because Adam Pearce is also really good, that doesn't get involved too much, still gets involved, has that authority figure, knows his place, and is just all round good at what he does. But he's not overbearing. You get what I'm saying? We don't see Nick Aldis every 2 minutes. He's not involved in major storylines. He's involved on the outsides and he enhances it, but he's not the main feature, which is really, really good. Anyway, Paul Heyman is encouraging Nick Aldis to withdraw Randy and KO from the match this weekend. He's worried about them. He respects them. He says Tama, Tonga, and Solo Sikoa are a different breed. They do not play around. He's obviously worried for their health. And in that, they discover that Paul Heyman hasn't actually spoken to Roman Reigns since WrestleMania, which is surprising because Paul said Roman Reigns withdrew from the draft. Nick Aldis calls him out on this, and Paul Heyman says, I withdrew Roman Reigns from the draft. He does not mean to be involved in all of this mess. So that is really, really, really interesting. The fact that Paul hasn't even spoken to Roman Reigns since WrestleMania, in storyline, obviously. And I like where this is going. The Bloodline storyline just keeps evolving week after week after week, and it's just getting so good, man. We then had the RKO show, Kevin and Owens and Randy Orton's show. The crowd was singing voices from Randy Orton's entrance theme. That was awesome. That was amazing. Paul Heyman kept asking to come on the show, apparently, and that's why he is the guest for tonight's show. where he appeals to both Randy Orton and Kevin Owens to pull out of the match. He says he respects both of them, like what he told Aldis, and that Solo and Tonga are a different breed. Before this, Kevin Owens was talking in French, getting huge pops because obviously, Montreal speaking French. But anyway, Tonga and Solo Sikoa end up attacking Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, and it involves or turns into a big scruffle with referees and security all splitting them. Kevin Owens then eventually lands a big swanton or a cannonball type thing from the top rope onto everybody in the crowd. Solo and Tonga leaving the ring, going towards the back. So I enjoyed the KO show. The dynamic between Randy and Kevin Owens is a lot of fun. Seems like Randy's really, really enjoying himself. The crowd was super hot for this whole show, or for this whole segment once again. Paul Heyman getting his cheers. The way they repeated Paul Heyman's usual catchphrase, "My name is Paul Heyman." Awesome, awesome stuff. I think the crowd just makes the show so much better. This show might have been mid if it wasn't for this crowd. You know what I'm saying? But I can't look at it that way. I can't look at it in hindsight. I got to look at the show for what it is, and the crowd absolutely made it. We then had LA Knight taking on Angel Garza from the, I was about to say the LWO, but no, from Legado del Fantasma. Typical LA Knight match. He did his thing. Crowd pop for LA Knight was insane as well. I feel like this is a reoccurring theme, but really insane. Steve Austin level pop for LA Knight. As I said, typical match. LA Knight got the win with a TKO right at the end. He then cut a typical LA Knight promo with the crowd going insane for his promo. Santos says, LA Knight included himself now in the King of the Ring as well, and that's when Santos Escobar got on the mic and said he'll have to show him how to win, how to be the King of the Ring, and basically declared himself in the King of the Ring. LA Knight then buried him on the mic, and that was the end of that segment. Super good segment, just to get LA Knight a big pop in the Lyon crowd. I'm enjoying the fact that these SmackDowns, and it's going to be the same for Saudi, are in the place before the actual show. It just gets everyone hyped up. It just, we don't need to do taped shows. Nobody cares about the taped shows when they happen. So I'm enjoying this. Anyway, we then had a backstage interview with Carlito. Finally, we get to hear, or not finally, but we get to hear why Carlito turned on Ray in the LWO. He explains the obvious, that Ray didn't pick him for WrestleMania. He just wants his WrestleMania moment, blah, blah, blah. Then Dragon Lee comes in and attacks Carlito, and that gets broken up. We knew that was coming, just a little piece. Imagine flying all the way to France for that. Anyway, we then have the Street Profits and taking on Theory and Waller for the tag team titles. Street Profits, huge pop, huge entrance. They go into the crowd and do all that. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller with those titles, just looks so good. Those titles are amazing, man. Some of the, if not the best titles in the whole company right now. But anyway, very, very good match. Street Profits over as hell. Theory and Austin getting the boos. Great match. I feel like if this was on the pay-per-view, it would have been even better, obviously. It would have been a fire match. I don't know why they couldn't have this on the pay-per-view. But regardless, great stuff, great match. Austin Theory then gets rolled up into a roll-up pin. And then behind the back of the ref, Grayson Waller decides to come in, hit his rolling flatliner. They get the cheap win. Boos all round for them, which is great. They run off to the back. We then find out that there's a huge WrestleMania announcement happening tomorrow on social media. So stay tuned for that. Don't know the time for that, but stay tuned for that, guys. We then have Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles facing off. Great promo battle between the two. We have AJ Styles mentioning the Stardust thing, and Cody had to... he couldn't cut it the first time around, is what AJ Styles said. Then they go back and forth. Cody mentioning the fact that they're both Atlanta, Georgia boys. And that he is focusing on AJ Styles, because AJ Styles suggests that Cody is focusing on all of this in the crowd rather than him. And then it gets to Cody basically doing a nod to the Bullet Club, saying it's too sweet and all of that. Puts up the Bullet Club sign to AJ Styles, considering they were both members of the Bullet Club. And today is, I think, the day or the anniversary of the start of the Bullet Club. So that's kind of a nice little intertwining thing. And then instead of doing the too sweet, AJ Styles then slaps Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles runs off. You think the show is about to go off the air, but backstage we see Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa fighting it out. Steel chairs being missed and thrown. And then it cuts out, show over. Now, I enjoyed the show a lot. Like I said, it could have just been because of the crowd, because that crowd was absolutely insane. Bonkers. Backlash Puerto Rico, you've got some competition here. You got some real competition here. I just hope the show lives up to last year's shows, because last year's show was an absolute banger. So I hope tomorrow's Backlash lives up to that. With that being said, what did you guys think of the show? What did you guys think of SmackDown? I think the segments were kind of mid and the matches were decent, nothing spectacular. I felt maybe it was missing a bit of star power, other than Cody and... I say that, but there was Cody, AJ, Randy, Kevin Owens. Forget about that. Maybe it was just not... didn't have that many people on the show like usual, because obviously they're in France. So maybe that's where I'm thinking that. But great show all in all. Crowd was insane. I'm super excited for Backlash now. And you know what's the best part about tonight's show? I get to watch it at a decent time. It's not at 3 in the morning for me. Thank you, WWE, for these international shows. 7 p.m., just like you guys in America, a decent time. But for you guys, of course, it's like, 10 a.m. or something. But for me, I enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.